Got it. I also would just like to address, I understand I look like I'm dressed for a warm summer's day, which is exactly what the weather is like where I am right now in Santa Monica, California. We've got up to, I think, 93 degrees today. So, but I know in most other parts of the country, it is very cold, including in Texas, cold for Texas standards. So anyway, all right, thank you everyone for being here. We are going to run through our presentation, our Dallas-Fort Worth event prep webinar, and it should take about 30 minutes. We'll see how quickly I speak. And there will be plenty of time left over for questions that you might have. So we do ask that you don't have to hold your questions to the end. As they come up, you can drop them in the chat, although as we move through the presentation, we may answer those questions. But we will not address those until we get through the presentation. So buckle up and hang on. So for those of you who don't know, I am Coach Molly. I will be assisted by Coach Sarah and Coach Kristen. And we also have Coach Danny and Coach Heather and Coach Stacy in the background who are hanging out and who will be here to help address any questions as well. But we are just 16 days away from the Dallas-Fort Worth 3-day, and we absolutely cannot wait to be back together in Dallas with all of you. So thank you for making the time to be here tonight, or if you are listening to this recording at a later date, thank you for taking the time to listen. So hopefully this information is not actually new to anyone who's on this call, but in the previous event prep webinars, there have been people who have asked questions like, where is the hotel and what's going on with closing ceremony? So in case you're behind on your event prep, these are our key locations. If you are flying in to participate in the Dallas-Fort Worth 3-day, then you will be flying into either Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport or Dallas Love Field. Our home for the weekend is the Hyatt Regency in Dallas. And that is where all of the fun will be taking place, including the opening ceremony and then our evening programming. And then our closing ceremony will take place right around the corner at Reunion Lawn. Coach Kristen, I will turn it over to you so people can have a brief break from listening to me speak.
I seriously doubt that, Molly. Hi guys, Thursday is when all of my lovely crew captains will be coming to meet with me, and they will meet with me about 2 o'clock. And there they will get all of the swag needed for all of your teams. They'll pick up everything from your guys' t-shirts, lanyards, all of your crew pins, any extra crew love that might be available, and get everything that they need to let you know what you guys are going to be doing for the weekend. And then from 2:30, please ignore the 2, but from 2:30 to 4, we will have driver's training. And then our lovely vehicle logistics coordinator, Sarah Smith, will be providing 2 different sessions. She likes to do them at 2:30, and then she'll do a second one at 3:15, but she will stick around until 4 in case we have anybody who can't make it. And we need all people who are signed up as drivers and navigators to please come and take the driver training. We just like to have it as a just in case. And that's about it for Thursday.
Perfect, thank you. And for any of our crew members who need to complete check-in, you would come between 2 and 4 to this room as well, and we will make sure that you can complete the check-in process. Okay, on Friday morning, walkers can arrive between 5 and 6 a.m. This gives you more than enough time to roll out of your bed and head downstairs or make your way to the Hyatt for the opening ceremony. And if you're crewing, you will get information on your arrival time and where you need to be and when you need to be there by your crew captain. Some of you will not be at the opening ceremony. You will head straight out for the event and get to your pit stop or wherever else you need to be. But we do record the opening ceremony, so you are always welcome to watch it later via our Facebook page. And then our opening ceremony begins at 7 in the morning. And we wanted to set the expectation. This is actually feedback that we received from the advisory council of the walkout with the survivors. It just wasn't as impactful as we had envisioned it to be for our first 2 markets, because we have some eager walkers who want to get out onto the route first. So we just want to set the expectations with everyone that survivors actually lead us out. So we invite our survivors and those living with metastatic breast cancer to come up to the front of the stage and to join together to then, when we say that the 2022 Susan G. Komen Dallas Fort Worth 3-day officially begins, they are the ones who lead us out of the ballroom. We have staff members who are there to help clear the space. And so we just ask that you please honor that and respect that process so that we can make sure that that meaningful moment happens the way that it's intended. And that does require all of our participants who are in the ballroom to help kind of clear that space and give our survivors and those living with breast cancer the time to get out, to navigate through the crowd and to lead us out the ballroom. So when we're done walking for the day with a route closure at 5:30, we will all enjoy game night and all of the weekend activities, and everything that you'll be doing throughout the event will be on your route card. And if you're like, I don't know what a route card is, Molly, we will show you an example of that at the end, but you'll want to make sure that you access that to know the timing of everything. Which is a good note and a good thing to put in here is sometimes some of the times shift a little bit between now and the event. So you won't want to use this word as gospel, but what ends up on your route card.
Can I add something to the survivors walking out? I know in Chicago, there was a concern that there was not enough room in the ballroom. And that was simply because all the walkers were closest to the exit, so they could get out quickly. So if we could all push to the other side, opposite of the exit, and allow those survivors to walk out, that would be much appreciated.
Thank you. Yeah, Sarah brings up a good point, which is that we do make announcements from the stage encouraging people to move over to the far side of the ballroom, but because people want to be closest to the exit point, it shifts the mass of people, making it more difficult for the survivors to get through the crowd, and also makes it so that people think that there isn't enough space in the ballroom. So we all eventually get to the same place. So on Saturday morning, we will start off bright and early with me helping to co-host the Bank of America Breakfast of Champions. And this is where we honor our top fundraisers. And it's worth noting, and again, it's feedback that we have received in the past. This is a presentation that is very heavy on honoring some of those participants who go above and beyond. But just by being a participant in the 3-day, every single participant fundraises, contributes to the amazing money that is being raised and given back to Susan G. Komen. And we honor, respect, and celebrate all of our participants who do that. But this is where we do put some special attention into honoring those who are going truly above and beyond the fundraising call of duty, if you will. There will be a fun bus ride to get things started, and I think how fun that is really up to all of you. But the first bus will leave at 6:30 and the last bus will leave at 7. For those of you who were with us in Chicago, we will be the first to admit that this did not go smoothly as we had hoped or intended. And it's things like we're all experiencing being alive in the world post-COVID, where some of the bus drivers just did not show up. So we did not have enough buses. We are changing our protocol for Dallas, and we are ordering more buses than we actually need to account for the fact that some people may call out sick. So we know that process didn't go smoothly. We've debriefed and met on that. And our intention is that this certainly goes much smoother than it did in Chicago. But first bus leaves at 6:30, last bus leaves at 7. We do ask that you just bring your patience and your positive attitude. The bus ride will take approximately 35 to 45 minutes, but we know that traffic is out of our control. So we just ask everyone to, if you play Candy Crush, I would say this is a great time to get caught up on Candy Crush, or as I will say at the ceremony on Saturday morning, it is also a great time to maybe do a final fundraising push that morning. So Sarah.
I just want to add, as a former kindergarten teacher, that bus rides are the most eventful thing ever in a life of a kindergarten student. So I just want you to think back to when you were in elementary school and that was the greatest thing ever, was to ride a school bus. Think positive and have happy thoughts. If you get on there and think it's going to be a horrible ride, it will be a horrible ride. So just, I'll teach you some new songs perhaps, and we'll just enjoy the ride on the bus because we're going to Fort Worth. So that's huge.
Thank you. And everybody gets a legacy pin just for riding a bus. So,
There
I
you
mean,
go.
there's that as well. So the route is scheduled to close at 5:30. And so everyone will need to be on a bus back to the hotel at that point. And then our honor ceremony begins after the last walker arrives back at camp. And this does happen pretty immediately after the last walker comes in. And we do send text messages. So if you haven't signed up for the on-event text messages, you will want to make sure that you do that, because we tell you things like the last walker is a mile out, head down to the ballroom for the ceremony and stuff like that. Also, in the back of the ballroom, there will be some tables set up with our commit flags, and we ask everyone to grab their commit flag on Saturday night. We will have them set up on Sunday morning as well. And spoiler alert, there will also be some at the closing ceremony if you don't get it at either of those places. But there will be, we ask that everyone bring those just to help raise more awareness and call more attention to us as we're walking on Sunday. Excuse me. And then there is a point in the ceremony where we do ask you to raise your flags. On Sunday, we will start serving breakfast at 5:30, and the route will open at 7 o'clock in the morning. And we ask that all walkers be out on the route by 7:30. If you are a 20-mile walker, or if you know anyone who is interested in being a 20-mile walker, registration does not close until next Wednesday, October 26th. And then online check-in does not close until the night before check-in, which is Saturday, November 5th. If you are a 20-mile walker, you are welcome to join us for dinner and the honor ceremony on Saturday night. The 20-mile walker reg type does not cover a hotel room for Saturday night, but we do know that some people are there at the hotel, and we want them to be able to enjoy the programming. And so they are welcome to stop by the info desk where they can get a visitor badge, or where you can get a visitor badge. And then it's just important to note that we are not set up to actually check in 20-mile walkers on Saturday. You will still need to do that on Sunday morning. So we ask that you arrive at the hotel between 6 and 7 to check in with us. And this applies to all 20-mile walkers, whether you've completed the online check-in process or not, because this is where we can give you all of your swag, your legacy pin, credential pocket, the commit flag, your lanyard, anything else that you will need. And then you will get your victory shirt after you return to the Finish Line Festival as well. On Sunday afternoon, the Finish Line Festival does open at noon, and it is open to spectators and participants at that point. And we will be ready to welcome you with open arms. Sarah, is the entertainment a surprise, or did you want to tell people about it? You're on mute, so if you're telling them, they can't hear.
I like to be on mute. It's what I do. It's what I do best. Do we want to tell them about the entertainment? I think it's pretty incredible. I'm pretty impressed with the talent that we have coming. They're not from Nashville or anything like that, but they are.
And they're not new to the 3-day.
They are not new to the 3-day.
Mhm.
It's more than one person. There's lots of instruments. How about that? Is that a good teaser?
Yeah, I mean, if you're part of the Dallas 3-day and you have guesses, feel free, or if you've been part of the Dallas 3-day before, you have any guesses, drop it in the chat, and we'll let you know if you're
Let's
if
say
you're right or wrong.
there's a 11-piece band. So how's that?
Okay, that's a lot.
Pretty impressive.
And then our closing ceremony will start with the last walker coming in. So we just make sure, like, if you or your friends or family would like to see the closing ceremony, you want to make sure that you're there between 3:30 and 4. Deadline for on-event awards. So the Breakfast of Champions, those awards are based on fundraising performance through 11:59 p.m. Central Time on Sunday, October 30th. This does not mean that you have to stop fundraising. It just means for the purposes of the reporting that we pull together to determine our top fundraisers is based on the data that we have through October 30th. So those awards are the top fundraising team, top fundraising individuals, small but mighty, rookie of the year, top crew fundraising team. And as we've said, there's still time to fundraise for all of those things. You still have until or through October 30th for that to happen. As far as getting your event credential, so on the afternoon of October 31st, so before you go into a sugar coma or pass out abundantly, you will want to log into your participant center or just follow the link with from the email that you will receive that will ask you to fill out the COVID questionnaire. And then as long as you've completed all of the other steps in the online check-in process and you've submitted your questionnaire that day, then your credential will be generated and available on the afternoon of November 1st. Now, it's a little bit of it's a manual process for us on the back end to generate those credentials, but we do that several times starting on November 1st. So if you don't fill it out on October 31st, if you don't fill it out until November 2nd, you will still have the opportunity to get your credential before you show up on events, as we push those out a few different times a day starting on November 1st. As far as luggage goes, if you are arriving to the hotel on Friday morning, then you will want to go to the gear check area. It's on the lobby level and it is in the Landmark Ballroom foyer, which is right outside the Landmark Ballroom. And we will take care of your luggage and hold on to it until you're back from walking. When you come back, you are going to get your luggage and then check into your room at the front desk. Obviously, if you want to check in and then get your luggage, that's fine. But once you're done walking for the day, that's when you'll check in and get your luggage. If you're not returning to the hotel after the closing ceremony, we will have a gear truck that is set up just outside the hotel. So we will just ask that you please bring your luggage downstairs to the lobby level on Sunday morning between 5:30 and 7:30. And then your luggage will magically appear at Reunion Lawn for you to get and take home. And then we have a hotel camp specific packing list, and it is available in your participant center under travel info. It's the3day.org/hotel packing, and Coach Stacy or Coach Heather, if someone will drop a link to that packing list. And then if I can also throw a curveball at one of you to please also drop the 20-mile Walker hotel packing list in there if it's different, or if that link brings, I imagine that link will bring you to both of them, but if it doesn't, please include the 20-mile Walker one as well. So you want to visit that packing list to see what you need to bring. And then as far as making sure that you have a credit card for your incidentals and things like that. So the hotel does require a credit card for your hotel check-in, and there will be, they do a deposit of $40 a night for a standard room. As you know, we provide snacks and hydration every 3 to 5 miles along the way with pit stops, but we also know that there may be a lot of other delicious and delightful places that you may pass along the way. And so we always recommend that you bring a credit card and cash for some of those goodies if you would like. And for those of you who need a coffee hit, the hotel does have Coffee's Post. It's open 24 hours, which sounds pretty amazing. And you can get Starbucks coffee, breakfast, pizzas, hot and cold sandwiches, and a bunch of other things, including wine and beer. So there's also a restaurant called Centennial, but that doesn't open until 6:30 a.m. So if you're, trying to hit that before the opening ceremony, it's probably not a good idea. But it is open 24 hours. So if you like, I don't know, want a pack of Twizzlers at 3 a.m., maybe that will be possible. As far as parking goes, just a reminder that the 3-day doesn't cover the cost for any personal vehicles. So you will be responsible for that. In some of our other locations, participants have shared these 3 apps, ParkWiz, Spot Hero, and obviously Park and Rides are a good place. But at the hotel, it's very affordable as far as hotel parking goes. $22 a day for self-parking, and valet parking is $36 a day. And then at Reunion Tower for the closing ceremony, we have a couple of lots, B as in boy 4 and H are reserved for spectator parking, and that is $10 for up to 4 hours. If you are looking for taxi or rideshare options, then we have provided, this information is also available on the website, so don't feel like you need to write this down. But there are a handful of different taxi options, but of course there's Uber and Lyft, and you, especially for the closing ceremony, you will just want to let them know that you're at Reunion Lawn, which is at the intersection of Hotel Street and North Drive. That is the pickup location. And then I'm not going to read all of this, but if you are using public transportation to or from either of the airports, that is available to use DART. And you can go on dart.org to figure out how to get back. But I think one of the coolest things about this community, and one of the things that we like to just sit back and watch, because obviously we're not, part of coordinating any of this, but I know that participants take it upon themselves to share when they are showing up, and finding out if anybody wants to carpool or share a Lyft or an Uber from the airport. So that is also an option that we know participants have had a lot of luck in securing themselves. Great news, especially if you've done another event this year. For this market, there are no shuttles. Since it is a 0.3-mile walk, it is not necessary to have a shuttle. Now, I know some of you may be like, I just got done walking 60 miles, 0.3 miles. For some of you, I understand like that may seem like the longest part of your weekend walk. And for others, it's not a big deal. But there are no shuttles that will be taking you back to the hotel because it is so close. And we've included a map of where you would be starting and ending. So no shuttles, no shuttle tickets. We won't be making any announcements. We won't be selling any. So Coach Sarah, I will turn it over to you to give a little bit of an update on community involvement and cheer stations, please.
We do have several cheer stations set up and ready for you. However, the more the merrier. We would love to have more. If you have any connections along the route and you can see, is the journey map posted? It is. The journey map's posted. So if you look on there and you say, oh, hey, I know someone that lives in that area, or I know a business, please have them reach out to me so that we can connect them to bring them out on the route. Fort Worth is huge. I am super excited about Fort Worth. That's closer to my hometown. So I am excited about that. We want you to invite your people. We want you to invite your family and friends. So share my email address with them. You can reach me right there. Some of you have my personal contact because we've known each other for years. So just reach out to us so we can get you hooked up. Heather and Danny have been phenomenal at setting things up for you. But like I said, you can never have too much. So we appreciate you, and just reach out and give me some information. Thanks.
Yeah, and I just want to echo again, I think it's important to know that like you give feedback and we listen and we do something about it. So we know, I mean, the community involvement didn't meet our own standards for New England. And, efforts were made in Chicago, and Coach Heather did a great job getting stuff lined up for Chicago. But we heard that it still, wasn't what everybody had hoped. And so we've been putting a lot of time and resources into really trying to beef that up for Dallas. And we know in San Diego, a lot of that just kind of works itself out. But we heard your feedback and we are working hard on that. And Sarah, I don't know if you mentioned that you are working with some participants who have come forward to volunteer to notify businesses and residents that we're coming by.
Yes.
In addition to some of the stuff that we're doing as well. So we appreciate everybody's help. But as Sarah said, it is the type of thing where, there is no such thing as too much support along the route. And any connection that you do have to a group or an organization or people in the area, like tap into that, and just please make sure that you connect with DFW coaches at the 3day.org, because it is a group effort. It's not just Coach Sarah working on this to do what we can to make it the best event that we can.
I do want to mention there's been a lot of push to get local colleges involved, TCU for one, but they have a game that day. So if you have a connection that would like to get them involved, that would be awesome. But so far I've hit a brick wall because it is game day. So look for other places, cheer squads, high school bands, middle school bands. It doesn't even have to be a full band. It can be a drum line. It can be just someone on a corner playing a horn. Anything to keep you motivated and keep you excited, send them to me.
Wonderful. And Kristen, I will turn it back over to you.
Yeah, so one of the things that we really rely on, especially on Sunday, is volunteers at our Finish Line Festival. This is an opportunity for groups, for teens, for families to come together and help us out to run all of the different tents that we have there. We have our victory shirts, we've got our info tent, we have our registration for the next year where we want to get everybody in and get them all registered to do this again next year. And we love to have our volunteers because that gives our crew a chance to also enjoy the closing ceremonies. So if you guys know of anybody or any groups that would like to help out, please have them email me, dfwcrew@the3day.org, and I will be happy to get them set up. We can take individuals, we can take large groups. All we need is they need to be at least 16, or they can be as young as 10, as long as they are volunteering with a parent or guardian. We also would love to have some additional medical volunteers, and we would love them throughout the weekend. We use them on the route, we use them in camp, we use them at Finish Line. So anyone that you can think of, they just have to have proper license. And if that's something that you have a question about, or they have a question about, again, have them email me. I can go through that with them. I can let them know what we can and cannot accept, but we would be happy to take medical volunteers on a shift by shift basis, a daily basis. We would like to take them all weekend. We can move them around, let them have a different experience throughout the weekend. So just, if you guys know of anybody, have them, send them my way, and I will hook them up, and they will have a fantastic weekend with the rest of us.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kristen. All right. And then as far as participant support goes, our lovely dedicated Dallas coaches, Sarah and Kristen, will be traveling at the beginning of the week. So we just want to make sure that you know that if you have questions, and this is also why we do this call, is to get in front of a lot of the questions that we typically get during the event week. So Sarah will be in the office for the first couple of days of the week, but then starting Wednesday, both Kristen and Sarah will be very out of pocket as we are getting everything ready. We will have some coaches in the office. Coach Stacy will be kind of holding the fort down, but we do like to just share that so that you know our response time might be a little delayed, and now is a great time to kind of getting your questions in. I mean, obviously things come up at the last minute, so if you have questions, ask them. But just know that we'll have a limited team in the office as we prepare for your arrival in Dallas. And then a couple of other things there's some things that came up in previous event prep webinars that we wanted to make sure that we shared. So one is, what is a route card? So we're sharing an example of what you can see and expect from a route card based on the day one route card for New England. Visitors are not allowed in our 3-day camp in our hotel markets, but they are absolutely welcome to visit any of the common areas. Our COVID protocols are based on the current CDC guidelines. So we pass along the message that masking is optional, and it's really up to each individual to do what they are most comfortable with. And medical crew will be masked when they're in the enclosed medical treatment areas, such as inside the lunch tents, and if they're at the medical patient areas at camp. But medical is not even wearing a mask the entire time either. For spectator information that you can share with your friends and family, you will want to direct them to the 3day.org/spectator, and one of our lovely coaches will drop the link in the chat. And then we will also drop the link to the 3-day info meeting. So if you are a new walker and you did not attend or watch a 3-day info meeting earlier this year, then we would highly recommend that you take some time maybe on your next training walk to just pop that on. You don't really have to look at the screen. You just have to listen to what we have to say, but that will answer a lot of questions that you may have about the event experience and what to expect. So that's always a good idea to review that if you are a new participant. And then that concludes the presentation portion. And at this point, we can open it up for questions. I will stop sharing my screen, hopefully. There we go. Yeah, so we can open it up for any questions that you might have.
Molly, we have folks looking at the general number of 3-day walkers, 20 milers, and crew.
Yeah, so general walkers and 20-mile walkers, Danny should know this better because I was like, use this. No, it's not this. No, it's this. Yes, it's this. I think I said 7, did I say 750? Yeah, thank you. 750 and crew, Kristen, are we expecting about 100, 150 crew?
I believe right now we're actually about 170.
Nice.
And then that doesn't include our fantastic youth corps, which will, between the youth corps and our leaders, will bring us to, that's another 15. So about 185 total.
Great. Yeah, so we're looking at about 950 participants in total. Amanda, I see your hand raised, and I really appreciate a rule follower. So does Coach Heather. So we will definitely call on you next. But I can't hear you. That's one wrong. If you're talking, I can't hear you. But you don't look like you're muted. Unfortunately, can't hear you. But use the chat. Oh.
Okay.
Are you logged in like both on your computer and your phone?
He did log in that way. I don't know why. Oh, Lord.
I would say
Sorry.
you'll want to mute whatever place you're not muted on. You'll want to mute there because that's giving you horrible feedback.
Okay. Here. Uh-oh. Sorry, y'all.
That's
Can you hear
good.
me now?
We can hear you. No echo.
Okay. So my question was about the water. I had read where you're supposed to go in there and to carry like a water bottle. Do y'all have paper cups or no?
No, you are. You do need to bring your own water bottle, and we will fill it up.
Okay. Perfect.
Mhm.
Thank you. That was my only question.
Awesome, thank you. I saw that if we're staying Thursday and Sunday nights, we have to change hotel rooms, and if so, when? And Coach Heather answered that and said, ideally, it is the plan to stay in the same room, but we can't guarantee that. But the hotel works really hard to make sure that people aren't switching rooms. It's in their best interest and in our best interest. What else?
I don't know, but you guys are obviously very informative because this chat box is super
know.
quiet.
Someone asked about the recording of the session. We will be posting a copy of the recording. We will post it in the Dallas Fort Worth 3-day Facebook group. So if you are not part of that Facebook group, you should request to join it right now, and maybe Coach Heather can drop the link to that Facebook group in here for anyone who isn't part of it. That is where it's at, just so you know.
Oh, things are rolling in now. Things are rolling in. What is your favorite thing about these races? That's
oh my gosh.
fun. Yeah, it's just, things are. So what is
yeah.
I mean, that's a question. Charlene, I will answer you offline.
I will say my favorite thing about these events is the people who participate in them, the amazing Pink Bubble community, and just the life-changing experience that we all sign up for as we get to participate in these events. Shirley asked, when will we get the hotel info so we can call the hotel to make sure we can stay in the same room? Participants don't get confirmation emails from the hotel. The way that this process works is from you completing the online check-in process and indicating whether you need a room or not, we do an extraordinary work on our end to create the rooming lists and make sure that someone who's chosen a random roommate gets selected and matched up. And then we provide that list to the hotel. So we are responsible for giving that to the hotel 3 weeks before the event, which is why our deadlines are 6 weeks out. And then they load that information into their reservation system so that when you do check into the hotel, they know to expect you, but you do not get a confirmation email from the hotel. As far as like wanting to make sure you stay in the same room, your best bet, like they know that everybody who participates in this event who has a Thursday, Sunday night wants to stay in the same hotel room. So I wouldn't recommend calling them, but just when you check in, they will let you know what your deal is and if you do have to change rooms. But as I said, and as we've said, it's not frequent where participants have to change rooms. We just can't 100% guarantee that.
Molly, early credential. There's a question for early credentials because people will be traveling.
Not possible. And that goes back to the COVID questionnaire. My hope is that the world will look different this time next year and we won't have the limitation of the COVID questionnaire, but we do need people to fill that out the week of the event so that your response to the question about the symptoms and any exposure that you may have, which, I mean, the reality is we've had people who have had to bow out of doing the event that week because they have been exposed to someone or they themselves have tested positive for COVID. So based on the timing of that and when the event takes place, that COVID questionnaire cannot be made accessible or available any earlier than October 31st. So November 1st is the first available date to do that. If you will be traveling, you are welcome to ask a friend to print it for you and bring it with you. You are welcome to use the business center at the hotel. And for anyone who forgot or lost their credential or didn't complete check-in, you can come and see me on Friday morning. The late check-in process is very different than it used to be. We do not have any computers set up. We do not have any printers. Anyone who shows up there who doesn't have a credential either will go onto their own smartphone and complete check-in, or if they've already completed check-in and just need a replacement credential, you will get a paper temporary credential for the day. And then when you're done walking, you will come to see us at the command center where you will receive your official event credential. So if you didn't have the ability to print your credential, we would just give you a temporary credential on Friday morning and then provide you with your official credential that afternoon.
For people leaving on Sunday, our suitcases will be taken to Reunion Park. Is there a place to change at the park before we leave for the airport?
I guess it would just depend on how comfortable you are changing in a public location at that point. But no, the answer is no, there will be porta potties, but the last thing I would ever recommend is to change in a porta potty in a parking lot. So short answer is no, but I'm sure you'll make friends with someone who will let you step into their room at the hotel that's 0.3 miles away to do a quick change. That's just the kind of community this is. Otherwise, I would recommend just going to the hotel and stepping inside one of their bathroom stalls.
There is a dietary question. What types of snacks and foods are available? If a team member has restrictions, what should we do for them?
You should email dswcoaches@the3day.org so that we can provide you with a list of snacks and our menu. We don't have an ingredient list. That's one of the pain points in working with the hotel is they're not always good about giving us the ingredients list, but they are good about working with participants. It's a low sodium diet for the food that they serve at the hotel. And they'll have notes of, you know, what's gluten versus gluten-free, wheat, dairy allergies and stuff like that. But you can email DFW coaches@the3day.org, and we can work with whoever that person is to provide them with the snacks, and also to let them know what their options are if the meals or snacks don't work for them, which would be PS, pack your own and bring them with you. As I said, there's the pantry is open 24 hours. So, and there are places around the hotel where you can go and go grocery shopping. So. Hours for breakfast and dinner, great question. I believe it's 5:30 to 7:30 is breakfast, and I believe it's 4:30 to 7:30 for dinner. Those are the things that most frequently shift from a timing perspective from the time this takes place until the time you get on event. So I did ask that question in advance, and there were many people involved in that conversation. My hope is that that does not change, but your route card will let you know the timing of those things. I also wanted to say one thing that is unique for this market is that the Remembrance Room will not be on the same level as Main Street. It will be down a level, and that is just because of limitations with space and size of rooms, where we've had to make some adjustments to where youth core and medical are. I think we can all appreciate that we do not want the Remembrance Room to be near where youth core is sleeping or where medical is taking place, to really help preserve the mood and tone of what the Remembrance Room is all about. But we do know that when it isn't on the same level as the rest of the programming, that not everybody sees it. So we are wanting to share that on this call now, and just kind of spread the word to your 3-day friends and family and teammates so that they don't miss out. We will make announcements on events, but that doesn't always get spread as far and wide as we would hope. So yeah. What else?
I think one of the questions in the chat was about breakfast on Friday morning.
Mm-hmm. It's a BYOB type of situation, as has always been the case on the 3-day. And that does not mean bring your own booze. That means bring your own breakfast. So no mimosas.
But the pit stop is just 3 miles, 35 miles down the road. So you can,
yeah. And
something
you know, we've been doing this for a while to understand the psychology and behavior of people who feel like they're never going to get another snack. And so they take as much as they can from the first pit stop. So we have, kind of made adjustments for that, but just know that there will be snacks at every stop. And so you don't need to take snacks like your life depends on it on pit 1 on day 1. And yes, there are options. Again, just you'll have to take care of yourself for breakfast on Friday morning. So pack a bar, or I don't know. I plan on making some avocado toast before I get started. Just kidding. I won't be able to, but I sure would like to. What else? Anything, Heather, Sarah? Any other questions in there that should be put out to everyone?
Everybody's asking about the map, but again, it's the journey map, folks. And every day you'll see a general overview of where you'll be walking. And then your route card will also tell you, at what mile you'll be, doing what and stopping where, and, taking a break and highlights and such like. But the journey map is up in the chat, and I will find it and drop it again.
Awesome. Yeah, and we don't, as Heather said, we don't provide like a turn-by-turn map of the whole route. We just do the journey map for the highlights, and the list of cheer stations are there as well. But this is a downloadable PDF that you can share far and wide. And someone asked what happens at the hotel on Thursday evenings. Depends what role you play. If you're staff, it means you're still setting up for the event and maybe a little stressful, but still have a smile on your face. If you are a walker or a crew member, you are meeting with your team, maybe having dinner and just hanging out but there is no official programming that happens on Thursday. So, but you will not miss an opportunity to run into someone from the 3-day. Just follow the pink.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm the new one here. So on one of your slides, you had shown the picture like where the lady was holding like a whole bunch of cards and stuff. The credential, what does that mean? Or
Yes. So your credential is essentially like your event ID. It's how we know that you are a 3-day participant and can access all of the snacks on the route and get your victory shirts. We scan you out so that we know that you're accounted for and on the event, but it is basically your 3-day license.
So this lady on this picture has done it a whole lot, and I'm gonna have one card basically.
That's right.
That's what that means. So, okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Well, that's Santa, but
Will you, Molly, go over the times for events and again, and things that happen at, on Friday night, Saturday?
I would love to. Thank you for asking.
It's Farnell asking, actually, but you go right ahead.
Yeah. So usually programming starts around 5:30, and that is with announcements, and then it is with games. And that's on Friday night, and then there may be some music and some dancing. And then on Saturday morning, the Breakfast of Champions starts, I think, at 6 a.m. It's early, I do know that. And I wish I could say that that was 13 minutes long, but it's not 13 minutes long. It's more like 26 minutes long. But we do get everybody out on time to be able to go on the bus. So don't you rush out of that. And then on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, there's usually some announcements that start around 5:30 as well. Sometimes there's some stretching. And then again, both nights, everything is completely 1000% interrupted by the arrival of the last walker. And that kind of shuts everything down. On Friday, we resume whatever we were doing before that. And on Saturday, we lead right from the last walker into the beginning of the honor ceremony. And if you are a new participant, do not miss the honor ceremony.
Can you speak to real quick about checking in? Melanie's coming from California. She wants to know if they check into the event on Friday morning or Thursday.
Sure.
And I just said, like, if you're already checked in on online check-in, there's really no check-in.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not like some other events where like everybody has to like come to an expo and officially check in the night before and get everything that they need. So much of that process has been moved digitally. So you will complete your check-in process online. And as long as you have your event credential, you don't actually need to see a staff member. And then you just really come down on Friday morning if you're walking. And that's where you can pick up some of your swag. So that is your lanyard. Laura just answered your question like 3 seconds after you posted it. But that's where you will get, as Kat is holding up, the lanyard, legacy pin, your pocket, and your big 3-inch round button that lets us know how many walks, whether this is your first walk or you get to fill in with a Sharpie how many walks. There's also an honor bib that you can fill out that lets us know who you are walking in memory or honor of. And there are also COVID stickers that let us know what you are comfortable with, whether you are just high-fiving people, whether you're open to hugs, or just kind of looking to people from afar. So those COVID stickers are available as well for you to indicate your comfort level with. This is a very touchy-feely community. So if this is either your first time doing it, you will absolutely want to grab one of those stickers, especially if you are not comfortable with random people giving you hugs, because that is just what happens on the 3-day. So, Jessica, yes, it can be 35 to 45 minutes to get from the hotel to the beginning of where we will be walking on Saturday. And we put a big fat caveat asterisk of traffic is out of our control. But I guess Sarah's going to be teaching people songs to sing on the bus. So I think we'll be all set.
What about, again, folks who haven't done this before, they call it a race. It is certainly not a race. There will not be race numbers. You will get safety pins because in some of the swag that Molly is talking about,
The
you
honor,
can get
the honor bib.
You can get an honor bib and you can put that on you. But she said, what if you don't want to carry around all that swag? Like,
The
it's not a lot
swag
of stuff.
is not, it's not going to weigh you down. You can take it or not take it. And it will also, as quantities are available, will be accessible along Main Street on Friday and Saturday night as well. But it's all things that you need in order to participate. Like you need the pocket to put your credential in. You need the lanyard to be able to have the credential visible and something you don't have to carry, but something that you wear. You get a promise ribbon, which just goes on your wrist. You get a legacy pin, which you put on your lanyard. The sticker, stick it on your shirt. So nothing you receive is like your traditional swag bag where it's like all of these sponsor goos and brochures and shirts and stuff that you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do with all of this. All of the stuff that you receive is stuff that is functional for what you need for heading out onto the event. And then there is no race number. There's just your credential, which has your participant ID, which is what we scan you in and out of camp. So we know that you've actually been on event. So as far as how big of a bag that you need to accommodate the Friday morning swag, you don't need a bag to accommodate it. So, all right, it's 5:52. So, I mean, technically we have 8 minutes and I can answer questions, all day long, but I think the questions have sort of slowed down here. Does anybody have anything else that they would like to share or say? Or any other final questions?
One
Amanda,
last thing. Yeah, sorry. I keep looking at all these pictures and everybody's carrying like backpacks. I'm like, do we need a backpack?
That's a personal question. It's really like some people prefer, the double straps versus a fanny pack. But again, I would say no.
So they're just putting their own personal belongings in that backpack. It's not like that they're collecting stuff out on the course. Like I know what the last Zoom meeting last Wednesday, and this lady held up this thing where she's making towels. So people aren't going to be giving you stuff like that, are they? Okay.
They could be. You just don't take it. Some folks collect. Some folks just say thank you and just walk right on by.
Thank you. Okay.
So Nancy
Molly
is holding up looks like her fanny pack that she uses for walking. So can you hold it up a little higher, Nancy?
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you got
and
your
that
water.
fits her wide mouth water bottle.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
What time again is the first SAG leaving for Fort Worth?
I already shared that once. I can't share it again.
I know, but Melanie is just chomping at the bit for it.
6:30 a.m.
6:30,
Yes. It's 6:30 a.m. and the last bus is scheduled to leave at 7. And again, those of you who were with us in Chicago are probably like, oh, okay, Molly, but that's the plan, guys. That's the plan. So, and Amanda, all of your questions are great. And as we said, recommend listening to that the info meeting webinar, because that answers kind of like a lot of that stuff. But our job is literally to answer your questions. So you never have to apologize, and you can ask us as many questions as you want. The Facebook group is a great place, I'm sure, as you know, to ask questions from this group. But you can always email us. We literally are here to answer your questions. Kat.
Can I throw in that what you carry with you in your fanny pack or your backpack or whatever is also on that packing list?
Yes.
So the hotel packing list or the 20-mile packing list has what you're going to want with you during the day. So depending on how much of it you want to carry, that helps you judge what pack you're using.
Thank you.
Sarah, I know you're dropping in the camp mail address.
It didn't drop so well.
That's okay. And the deadline for that, that's like days away, right?
Yes, next week,
Okay.
October 24th, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Varnell, great question on how to sign up for text messages. And I'm not going to fool around on my computer. But if one of the other coaches wants to, I'm sure that we have an email. You should have received an email, or you will be receiving an email from us that tells you to sign up for text messages. But if I can change the speed of my speech, I can give one of the other coaches time to try to see if we
I have no
already
idea.
sent out that email and can find that link and can drop it in the chat. And if not, you know, we can just follow up we can follow up directly. But
Either or, we're on it.
yeah,
I think Varnell knows where to find me.
perfect.
And Alaska Julie has a question, but I don't know how she could possibly have a question.
I can't wait to hear
Can,
this.
can it be a statement? I
Yeah.
just want to tell Amanda that whatever you plan on using for the walk, at least do a 5 to 8 mile training walk, carrying it, the backpack or the fanny pack. I am technically a princess and I hate carrying stuff. So I have a fanny pack that's got 2 water bottles in it and just a few things. And for those of us who have done San Diego, I'm not going to lie, doing the hotel one, I carry less stuff in my pack during the day because I know I'm not sleeping out at night.
Yes.
So at least get in 5 to 8 miles with whatever you're going to wear for the walk. So
I
you
mean,
can
I
say,
always
"Ew, I hate this."
Yes, I carry a fanny pack, but I've been reading online with everybody talking about the backpack and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, no.
No, it's just whatever works for you, because we've got water, we've got pit stops, just have 2 water bottles. There's medical, you know, and there's people that if you need something, you scream, and trust me, someone is going to be running to you and handing it to you, no matter what it is.
Okay, thank you so much.
Do we still
You're
have the
welcome.
men? Do we still have the men on the walk that had the bras that they opened up and it had everything you could possibly need? Chapstick, Band-Aids, moleskin. Do we still have them?
The Men with Heart team
Men with
carries
heart. Okay.
backpacks with stuff, and they are in yellow shirts, and they're just older than the Youth Corps. So not to be confused with the Youth Corps yellow shirts, the Men with Heart are in yellow shirts and have all sorts of supplies that you may or may not have forgotten or ran out of, and they will help you out.
And I am going to drop the link in the chat for subscribing to text messages, but that is also that is also going to be included in an email that is dropping tomorrow to all walkers. So you can wait until that email lands in your inbox. So yeah. All right. Thank you everyone so much. We're very excited to be back in Dallas for the first time since 2019. And if you have any other questions, please email DFW coaches if it is walker related, or DFW crew at the3day.org if it is volunteer or crew related. And just again, a huge thank you to everyone for taking the time to join us tonight live or to listen to this later. And yeah, just thank you so much and have a great night.
See you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.